Halloween already. It's a darn shame I have no one to collab with. I said, it's a darn shame I have no one to collab with. It's a darn shame I have no one to collab with! What the hell? Why hasn't anyone showed up? It's Halloween, it's time for a collab.
Kyle, I need your help.
Ah! A ghost!
Whoa, calm down.
Stay away from me! Don't you dare possess me!
Dude, you were literally just talking out loud trying to match your ramblings with a comedically timed haunted invasion into your home, and now you're freaking out like a child that it actually happened.
Wait a second. I recognize that voice. Is that ZaffreRevolution, video game countdown maker and video game reviewer whose social media presence you can find down below?
Yep, that's me. Could we not do that, please?
So, wait, are you dead or something?
Not really. Even though I'm a ghost right now, I'm not actually dead, and I'm more just separated from my body for the time being.
Okay, so this is more of a Pokemon Haunted Tower episode kind of situation then. Fair enough. Well, since you're here, and I need you to do a collab for the holidays, you want to do something together? Say, I don't know, top 5 ghosts in gaming?
Yeah, sure, it's not like I have anything better to do.
You Zeta sons of digits!
Hello and welcome to another countdown.
Among the holidays that people celebrate, it's no secret that one of the more popular ones is Halloween. While most other holidays act as a celebration of things like family, love, and remembrance, Halloween is the one holiday that doesn't embrace any of that stuff.
Move over, Valentine's Day. Out of our way, Christmas. Stay away, St. Patrick's Day. Halloween is a time of year to celebrate mischief, to celebrate shenanigans. It's a time to let go of our reserved selves posing for family photos and instead eat a shit ton of candy and reflect on scary, or not so scary, things in video games.
And this year's topic is gonna be ghosts in gaming. Ooh.
Ghost as a concept in folklore and mythology go back literally thousands of years. Without a doubt, it's the biggest archetype of the undead there is. And, you know, it can make its way into video games because of that.
Ghosts as a topic are quite broad though, so we are going into this list with a few points we'd like to make. First of all, we're focusing on characters that match a very typical concept of a ghost. By that, we mean the traditional flying blob with a mean face on it.
Also, if you're a major horror games fan and are hoping to see some of the more niche badass ghosts from that genre, I should know that this list focuses on ghosts from non-horror games, as both Zaffer and I are not very familiar with the genre.
But hey, if you are in fact kind of a wuss and would like to enjoy a video highlighting friendly, cute ghosts, then, well, you're in the right place.
Two to the one, from the one to the three. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat.
The Nintendo DS is a console I'm sure everyone who's watching this video is very familiar with, not to mention my personal favorite handheld.
It's a console that both Zaffer and I grew up on, and looking back today, it's astounding how many great games are on it.
I think one thing that the DS doesn't get enough praise for is its selection of games made for older audiences. You usually don't think of them at first, but games like 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, and The World Ends With You are DS games, and they're some of our personal favorites.
One game that I've only played recently is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, which is a puzzle and visual novel game for the DS, written and directed by Shu Takumi, the main guy behind the Ace Attorney games.
Ghost Trick Phantom Detective is a game about a man named Sissel who wakes up a ghost and finds out he was killed by someone. And even though he just died and is now a ghost, he has no recollection of who he is and why he was killed.
So the basic story of the game without any spoilers is that a ghost wants to find out who killed him and why. It's a spin on a relatively simple premise, but making the detective and the victim one and the same is an interesting idea.
Now, trying to solve crimes and interfere with the real world can be difficult if you're a ghost, so what Sissel does is use his ghost tricks to possess random objects and do things with them, like opening doors or switching levers.
And although that doesn't seem too useful, you'll soon find out that your ability to shake random objects in the real world can be used to save people's lives when used at the right times in the right sequences.
With proper skill and timing, you can make the entire world into your personal Rube Goldberg machine. A really complicated personal Rube Goldberg machine, but hey, it works.
The only reason Sissel is lowest on this list is that I've only started playing Ghost Trick, so I can't say that I feel comfortable declaring him the best ghost in video games.
Two to the one to the three. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat.
So, you've made your way through the ruins and you're finally closing in on the exit. So you've made your way through the ruins and you're finally closing in on the exit. Okay, dude, are you reading the script? We're in the middle of
I'm sleeping.
Napster Luke is kind of an awkward dude. When you first meet him, he tries what Kyle is doing right now and pretends to sleep by yelling the letter Z over and over again. And just like I am in this current scenario, you probably won't be very impressed with Napster Luke's performance.
But when fighting Napster Luke, you kind of realize that his desire to trick you into thinking he's sleeping isn't entirely out of malice. The poor guy is just kinda awkward.
In his first attack, Napster Luke will cry on you, which is easy to dodge and kind of, well, pathetic.
In his next attack, well, he doesn't attack. Instead, he just leaves a message. Really not feeling up to it right now. Sorry.
And this is a big example of what Napster Luke as a character is based off of. You know those times where you have awkward, one-sided conversations on the internet with shy people? That's kind of the inspiration for the character.
Napster Luke is the kind of guy who's just not really confident online. He constantly worries about whether or not he's annoying his mutuals. He speaks without any form of capitalization to seem chill to the people around him, but because of his mannerisms, he just seems kind of passive.
In the pacifist route, you can try and help him open up, and he'll start enjoying your conversation. He'll eventually show you a cool hat he made out of his tears, and I must say, he looks quite dapper.
Is this any better, Squidward?
On the genocide route, things play out quite differently. As you attack him, his HP will go down, but right when you kill him, he reminds you that he is a ghost and as a result cannot die. He was merely pretending to lower his HP to make you feel better. And as an aside, I do admire the intentional lack of the usual sound effects that play when doing damage in Undertale when he's faking the damage he takes.
Napster Luke is kind of awkward and shy, but it should be noted that deep down, he secretly longs for fame. You find out later in the game that he's a DJ who wants to make music, and you can lie down with him and just, to quote him, feel like garbage. Chilling out with the boys.
Two to the one to the three. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat.
When one looks at the Pokemon series, with its seemingly endless cast of creatures, they're inevitably going to come across a Pokemon inspired by a ghost of some sort.
So much so that there is an entire Pokemon type dedicated to ghosts. Granted, it's one of the least common types, but there's still quite a bit to choose from.
In this roster, you have an abandoned doll seeking to exact revenge on its former owner, a sandcastle that collects the bones of its prey, and even a haunted Egyptian tomb, which, I mean, is pretty freaking cool.
But for the sake of novelty, we have decided to stick to basics and celebrate the original, the best if you ask me, Gengar.
Gengar is a Pokemon that personifies the shadows. He likes to follow people around, hide in the darkness, and kill them. Around the world, folktales are told about Gengar chasing down naughty children and stealing their souls. Think about that the next time you steal an extra cookie.
But in the world of Pokemon, taming one of these ferocious, ghostly beasts is easier said than one might think. You can usually find one of his pre-evolutions in the game's local haunted mansion, and you can get him pretty soon after, as all you need to evolve Haunter is to trade him, which can be done as early as level 25.
And after that, even a snot-nosed 10-year-old kid can control him.
Adding a Gengar to your party is almost always a good idea. His fearsome special attack can desecrate the enemy, and he has moves to back it up.
Even with the power creep Pokemon has had over the years, he maintains a solid placing in the tiers, only dropping to underused in Sun and Moon. Before that, he kept his place in overuse, but because Game Freak took away the ability Levitate and gave him Cursed Body instead, he lost his immunity to Spikes and Earthquake, which were super useful for him.
But even with that nerf, he's still a great Pokemon, and this isn't even factoring his Mega Evolution.
Gengar's Mega Evolution does not just give him an insane power boost, it also grants him the ability Shadow Tag, which traps almost any opponent from normally switching out. And if that doesn't sound like a big deal, you're wrong, because the ability to reliably trap in Pokemon is one of the most powerful assets you can have.
Shadow Tag alone takes Gengar out of the UU and places him in the tier of intergalactic space viruses, God himself, and of course, a chicken.
Two to the one to the three. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat.
Ghosts as a concept are a manifestation of the old, the dead, what used to exist.
So although Zafre and I tend to try and not let the concept of seniority affect our decisions in our countdown rankings, for a ghost list, I think being a ghost that has a longer history than others is important.
So the next entry on the list comes from a bit of a sleeper hit. You may not have heard of it, it's kind of an obscure game known as Pacman, where you try to navigate a maze while a bunch of colorful ghosts chase you around.
These ghosts all have their own nicknames: Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. But they also are described with a certain character, being Shadow, Speedy, Bashful, and Pokey.
Jokes aside, Pac-Man as a game was obviously influential for its time. In this era of gaming, most games had a more generic space battle theme without any real personality attached to the characters, but Pac-Man and the ghosts are different.
All four of the ghosts have their own personality that manifests itself in their artificial intelligence. Blinky is the leader of the group and chases Pac-Man head-on.
Pinky will try to predict your movement and intercept you from behind.
Inky's movement will sometimes change, but generally he will swap between Blinky and Pinky's strategy.
And that leaves us with our personal favorite, Clyde. Clyde will chase you right until he gets close to completion and then suddenly lose interest and go back to his corner. And Switchy and I, as people who make content, can definitely relate with that work ethic.
As the Pac-Man brand has grown, these ghosts have had their personalities developed and changed a bit, and more ghosts have been added.
There's Sue, who replaces Clyde and Miss Pac-Man for some reason, or in an arcade remake known as Pac-Man Arrangement, there's a new ghost added to the cast known as... Kinky.
Nice.
I'm looking for a girl that will do whatever the fuck I say. Every day she'll be giving it up. Shake that ass for me. Shake that ass for me. Come on, girl.
Picking our favorite ghost in gaming was not an easy task. It's a common archetype in not just video games, but all of media, so it's really difficult for one type of ghost to stand out. So we decided to look towards the classic video game ghosts and work from there. And that, of course, took us to the Super Mario games.
Boos in the Super Mario Bros. Series are basically one major category of enemy. They've appeared in so many games, all with their own distinctions, that coming up with the best Boo to be in the best ghost list was not an easy task.
Let's say, for example, Lady Bo, the head mistress of Boo's mansion who helps Mario save Peach in the original Mario game.
I like to remember the giant angry Boo you have to fight in Mario World to unlock Star Road. I was replaying the game recently, and I found him all on my own, which made me very proud of myself.
But we've decided to stick to a more well-known and less obscure named Boo. And like Lady Bo, he's an authoritative figure, but he doesn't exactly help Mario.
Quite the opposite, in fact. King Boo does the dirty deed of kidnapping Mario, which does not happen too often. Definitely less often than Peach. The only times I can think of are in Luigi's Mansion, Super Princess Peach, and Super Mario 64 DS.
King Boo's main role is the antagonist of the Luigi's Mansion games. In this series, he ditches the typical gold crown for a much cooler looking ruby crown, which is a fashion decision I must commend.
His boss fight in Luigi's Mansion is incredibly memorable and definitely one of the best. He uses a very lifelike Bowser suit as a weapon, and because of his ghost powers, you will be forced to endure some of Mario's most disturbing imagery. Ew.
We love King Boo so much because he has the same charm the normal Boo has. He's an enemy that's tricky and makes you think outside the box, except this one is a lot bigger and has a really cool crown.
He's popular enough to basically be a secondary Mario villain and spin-off character, which is great. I never forget to add him to my baseball team when playing Mario Super Sluggers.
Thanks again for having me on, Kyle. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, dude. It was nice seeing you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess I'll head out now. Maybe I'll find something to turn me human again on the way home.
Good luck with that.